Sí, pues welcome back. We're back with this next segment, next section, next, I don't know how to call it, um, of today. My name is Jessica Pérez, para los que se nos acaban de unir y resulta que no saben quiénes somos. Yo soy Jessica Pérez. Aquí arriba, a un lado abajo, en algún lugar del universo de Meet, pueden ver a mi socio, compañero, amigo, hermano de toda la vida. No de toda la vida, pero casi, Sergio Barbosa. Anda por ahí también en algún lugar de este planeta, Silvia Bautista, que es la tercera miembro fundadora de Anglia o el team. Y pues sí, bienvenidos. Now we're going to switch to English. Vamos a estar spanglishando, ¿no? Como les decíamos desde el principio, porque así es como la ardilla funciona. Pero sí. Now we're going to switch a little bit more steadily to English for this following segment of today, in which we're going to warmly welcome Arelly.
Oh,
Hello and welcome, Arelly. We have the official, espérame, que no sé dónde lo dejé. The official welcome. So, Arely was born in Mexico and raised in California. She came back to Mexico in 2010 and started teaching during her first year back. She just finished the degree in English language teaching and currently works at a private school teaching elementary and middle school. She enjoys spending time with her family and having Harry Potter marathons with Becky, her daughter, who is 11 years old. Pues yes, welcome, bienvenida Arely, qué chido que andes acá y que nos hayas podido acompañar y ser parte de este segundo encuentro de Lenguas a Madres. And Arely is going to talk to us a little bit about her experience learning. I'm not exactly sure if English or French, but you guys will discover. We'll discover it once Arely actually starts her talk. And pues yes, welcome. And the floor is yours whenever you want it.
welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm glad to see Abby and Elisa here. I missed you girls a lot. It's good to see your faces. Well, Elisa's face, and hope to see Abby soon. So thank you very much for inviting me. When I saw that Dark sent me a message, it was just like, oh my goodness, it would be an honor for me to be here, really. So I'm gonna start sharing my screen so we can get started. Let me see if I'm doing it right. Okay, I think. Okay, can you see it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Ya no.
No, ya no.
That was just a trial run, I guess. Let me see. Okay, so right now you're seeing kind of my screen, is that right?
Yep.
Yes, we are.
Okay. All right, what about now?
Yep. Well, we're seeing the presenter view, but yeah.
Yeah, probably there is a couple of arrows to your right to make it full screen.
Ah, got it. Like this?
Yeah, I mean it works, I guess.
When you share with Canva, there is two views, presenter and public, the public. You can share the public one.
Okay, got it. Right.
Y aparte nada pasa, eso es parte de este asunto, ¿no? Seguimos aprendiendo y seguimos, es que no pasa nada.
Thank you so much for your
Sí, no.
Si no tienes notas que no quieras que veamos, then don't worry, and it works for us.
Exceso de estrés por estas ondas. There you go, audience window.
Yep.
Yay. Okay. Phew. Thank you very much. Okay. So my presentation is called Living in Two Worlds. I'm going to talk to you about what it's been like being bilingual and like kind of the whole process that I went through. Okay, so my name is very long. It's Maria Guadalupe Arelly, but everyone just calls me Arelly. So a little bit about who I am, where I came from. So this is me when I was little. I learned English kind of like the natural way. I mean, I wrote that because that's kind of what everyone hears when little kids learn from a young age without necessarily being taught. My parents took me to California when I was about 4 or 5 years old. So I already knew like basic Spanish, and then I learned English through school. So I went through an ESL program called Puentes, and through Puentes, I was able to learn a lot of English, so much so that I was taken out of the Puentes classes and I was just kept in my normal classes. And when I think back, I don't necessarily remember learning English, which has been hard as a teacher, I guess, because I don't know how students would feel when they would be hearing an audio and they wouldn't be able to understand maybe like half of what they said. Like, how can you not understand? I was never in those shoes. And like Darks mentioned, when I started learning French, that's when I kind of like got the view of how a student felt. So then also brown pride, because when I was in school, I was the only Mexican girl in my classes. And being bilingual brings so many benefits. You use different parts of your brain that normally you don't when you're just speaking Spanish or learning something in Spanish. And when you do it in English, I think that your mind opens up to a whole new realm. And it allowed me to go to advanced classes to be seen as an example for my peers. And it felt nice. And it was a way of like acknowledging the power that being a bilingual gives you. So we go to the next slide. But unfortunately, all of that changed from one day to another. This is the last picture that I took in the US when duck faces were like the cool face to make when you take a selfie. Um, so this is the last picture that I took in the US. I was driving very fast through a school zone. So I was pulled over and I was taken to jail that day. I was taken to an airport in in Sacramento, and just like the picture here, like handcuffs on my arms and on my legs, and I was 20 years old. I was still quite young. It was such a big event that impacted me and who I am as a person, as a teacher today, but it has made me stronger going through that process. And it really makes you appreciate all the things that you have. Um, I remember that's the last day that I kissed my mom, and I didn't see her for like 10 years. So um, now she's here in Mexico, but every time I think about that, it's still very fresh. Um, but well, what I wanted to share with you from this experience is that really um, appreciate what you have, where you are right now, and where you're going. And a funny story was that when I got to the border, I remember that they told me, well, if you're really Mexican, because I mean, I spoke Spanish very well. When I got to the border, they told me, well, if you're really Mexican, tell me how the Niños Héroes saved like Mexico. And I was like, who? I had no idea who they were because, well, we didn't study that in the US. So they were saying, like, no, we're going to deport you to Guadalajara. We're going to, out to Guadalajara, to Guatemala, to El Salvador, because I didn't know the story. But then they asked me, well, tell me what are the elements of the Mexican flag. And of course, I knew the eagle, the colors, so that really made me appreciate what I have today and what I've been through. And well, how does that link to this talk and like me giving you the best advice is that context is everything. I think that I went through a lot of stages in my life, being there in California and arriving to Mexico, and it gives you like a different way to view things. So one thing that you guys were talking about was how in Spanish, there's like this flavor of how you speak. So when I got here to Mexico, one of the things that really caused me a lot of trouble was like albur, and how when you speak in Spanish, like you have to be so quick to catch everything. And I remember like when I lived in Leon, I used to work in Teletech. So this is the call center where I lived. I don't know if anybody's from Leon. I worked at Teletech, and since I was like the new girl, they would be like, "Oh, let's go eat some quesadillas," and they would tell me, "Oh yeah, what kind of cheese do you like?" And I'm like, "There's different kinds of cheeses. Like, what's going on?" So, of course, I had to add that because it's funny how you guys were saying how bad words are essential, and it's true. Like when you're learning a language, whether it be German, whether it be French, it's also good to have those things that you don't usually see in a textbook. And I think that's one of the biggest tips that I can give you is context is everything. Whenever you're learning a language, whether it's in your classroom, whether it's online, whether you're learning from YouTube, from websites, remember who you're speaking the language to. I remember Patrick saying that he wanted to learn Spanish because it was something that he wanted to speak, or that he wanted to speak with someone in their own language. And you have to remember, okay, what am I going to say? What do I want to get across? Um, so that has helped me kind of also as a teacher explain to students the importance of learning, of course, formal language, but also the other side, the side that you don't see in the classroom. So here's a picture of Alex and myself. Like we are different people when we're teaching kids. We're like Disney princesses, and we are changing our voices. Our voices rise. We're very excited. Then I hit in the degree when I think Jessica is here as well.
It's always the tallest one.
Is the tallest one there. This is like an honor to her. This is the day where we had like that everyone was dark, and we know when I'm with my friends in the degree, I wouldn't speak the same way that I speak with my students in school, or how I would speak with my friends at the call center. Or this is a picture of my students and myself at the bar. We would also give classes at the bars because we were trying to step away from just learning in the classroom, and make them see that being bilingual doesn't necessarily mean I can only be bilingual in a classroom. I can be bilingual anywhere, right? And of course, here with my kids, when I'm with my younger students, I'm a completely different person. And when I speak in Spanish, I'm a complete different person as well. Oh, let me go back. So, my best advice to you is to remember what motivates you to learn. I think that um, these were my classmates during the degree, and they were people who reminded me how motivated I was, and how in the classroom we came through so many different backgrounds, and we were all there for one goal, and each of us had a different type of motivation to be there. So when you're learning English, when you're learning German, when you're learning French, something that also really helped me was reminding myself, why are you doing this? How did you get here? Whether it be your family, whether it be music. I remember that Vero told me that she learned English because she loved Paramore, and that's how she learned. That's what was her motivation for her. She would write the songs, and I remember her sister who grew up with her. Um, she doesn't like English. She says that she would like classes. When the last time that we saw each other, I met Vero's sister, and it was interesting to see how, even though they were raised in the same household, how their motivations pushed them to do different things in life. I mean, Vero already had a degree, but this longing for her to be an English teacher like pushed her all the way to a second degree, and it's just amazing what motivation can do for you. And when you don't feel motivated, think about how far you've come. Um, I can still close my eyes and see when I'm like getting into the plane in handcuffs from my arms and my feet. And then when I'm feeling down, I Google my name and this pops up. And you think, okay, so how is Passe Compose gonna beat me who I've been through so much? I mean, I'm gonna do this. So it really is your mindset and being able to be continuous in the way that you study a language. And well, what does being bilingual mean to me? I think it also has to do with being a different person. And I saw this on Facebook the other day. It was Robert Pattinson when he was in Harry Potter, and then when he was in Twilight, and then now that he's in Batman and he's like all dark. So I think that the being bilingual also gives you an opportunity to show different parts of yourself. You can be, they tell me that in English I'm very sweet, and in Spanish I sound a bit more serious. So I think that it allows you to be different people. And in French, I've heard that my voice is sexier. Like, and I always love going to my French classes because I remember that comment from that teacher, and I'm like, that's why I'm studying French, because I sound good when I'm saying it. So you can meet different people in different languages. I think that's also very amazing. Um, and being bilingual allows you to take a knowledge, like today is Friday and the body knows it. Like, I mean, that's such a expression in Spanish, but being able to like transcend through future generations is also amazing. This message was from a student. Um, they sent it in Zoom, and I just thought it was an amazing example of how this duality that we have from not only teaching English and teaching the present perfect and the simple past, but how it allows you to break certain barriers or to explore different types of teaching styles. Like, I would have never learned this in French, I think, because my teacher was maybe a little bit more serious. But um, being a bilingual will open so many doors for you. And I think I heard some of the Anglia students say how, the school is the best, which is very nice, even though it wasn't a commercial, and how you see that motivation through students is amazing. So being bilingual has also made me branch out. I became an interpreter, a teacher in all different levels, and it broadens your mind. It broadens the way that you think about certain concepts. Even when you're teaching, I remember that I teach science and English as well. And even though you're seeing something as simple, well, not simple, but kind of complex for fifth grade, as global warming, you can take that concept and not only teach English, but make them see about what the world is happening around them and what's going on around their environment. And well, the future. Being bilingual also means getting future generations ready. My daughter now, she's older. When she was very small, she would go with me to Guanajuato when I was studying. And I remember she would be in classes with teachers and she would pay attention. Sometimes she would go outside. I think that I had a very good family support. Everyone would take care of her. Um, Elisa would take her to the store. I mean, it was really like a community thing, but she saw English as something part of her life. It was normal for her. It was just like, oh, we come here, everyone speaks English. Okay, that's fine. I accept it. I think that it's our responsibility as as humans, as mothers, as sisters, as daughters, parents, brothers, husbands, to carry on this idea of it's not only Spanish or it's not only English, it's not always French and Japanese. You know that there are more languages out there to learn. And my best friend, she bought me books in English because they're really hard to come by just by going to the library. So my daughter started reading in English, and a lot of people have asked me, well, do you teach her? Like, do you sit down and do you tell her, oh, okay, well, the past of go is went. And whenever we're going to talk about, what we did, this is how we speak. I was very nervous because being the mother of a child who's being raised in a bilingual home, it's a lot of pressure because you want everything to go well. You want her to learn and be the best. And in class, everyone expects her to be the best, and it's really a thin line that you have to look out for. I remember her telling me one day, like, Mom, everyone expects me to know everything in English. And sometimes when I don't, I feel stressed. Like, she started developing like certain anxiety red flags. And what we did was kind of talk to her. We would do certain exercises whenever she would feel like that. Because being not only just the daughter of a teacher, but the daughter of the English teacher. And right now in fifth grade, I'm not her teacher, thank goodness. She's with another teacher, but she sees how important English is in school. And she's aware of her responsibility in others seeing how well she's doing or how well she isn't doing. And this third picture is of her at a conference, Model of the United Nations, where it's an amazing event where they get together and they each represent a country, different students from all over Guanajuato. They come to Nuevo Continente in Querétaro, and they talk about, for example, how to resolve um, eliminating child labor, for example. And they take the position of a country and they give proposals, and everything is done in English. And when she saw that she was able to do it and do it well, that's when she felt even more motivated to be part of this English speaking world. And also I think we became a lot closer, not only because we always speak English here at home, but there are certain words or phrases that me and her kind of like translate from English to Spanish or from Spanish to English, and we have like inside jokes. So I think that the future of our kids, our students, especially you guys are so young. I mean, I think that teachers, Jessica, I call her Darks, but Jessica, she knows what it's like to grow up in a bilingual school, and I think that she gives everything in such an amazing and organized way that you guys are in the best hands. And well, I wanted
Yeah, me
to
too. Yeah.
I wanted to kind of like finish off this talk with even though living in two worlds was like the beginning of how I wanted to tell you guys about this experience of being bilingual. It's not just necessarily that I live in two worlds, but I think I am my own person and two worlds live in me. And that's it. Thank you very much.
Bravo!
Woo! Thank you. Thank you very much, Arely.
That two words live in me sounds really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thank you. Did I stop sharing? Yes, I did.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, no, it's okay. It's okay. Bravo. Thank you.
Woo!
Thank you. Any questions? Come on,
It's
guys.
the time. Igual que hace rato, ¿eh? If you don't feel confident enough, si no se animan a aventarlas en inglés, las van a aventar en español. Because we are all bilingual here, or we all speak tantito inglés, tantito español. So avienten any questions that you have for Arely.
Pues bueno, más que pregunta, es un comentario, porque, pues la verdad, sí, pues sí, en algún sentido, este tipo de experiencias que tú compartes con nosotros y es motivacional, al menos para mí, el pues seguir impulsando, ¿no? El aprender inglés, porque pues sí, obviamente las experiencias que tú tuviste pues no fueron para nada agradables ni para nada ligeras, pero como que puedo sentir que el estudiar o el enseñar inglés como que también fue parte de esta como superación. Entonces, qué chido y pues gracias por compartir tu experiencia con nosotros.
Ay, muchas gracias, Daniel. Sí, o sea, yo a esto no le cuento a mis alumnos pequeños de quinto grado de secundaria, porque creo que ellos piensan, viene de California, no, pues, ¿qué hace aquí, teacher? ¿No? Como que, pues, allá gana mejor. Le digo, no, pues es que aquí me enamoré y aquí la vida en México es excelente y la comida, o sea, porque
Las
no,
quesadillas con un montón de diferentes quesos.
las quesadillas con queso babitas, queso badotas, no, o sea, eso nunca lo voy a olvidar. Este, y ya de grandes, cuando los veo en la universidad, porque me ha tocado que ya les doy clases en la universidad, les platico y me dice así como que, no invente, teacher, o sea, yo nunca me hubiera imaginado que usted vivió ese proceso y más que nada, como dices, como que motivación, como que, miren chicos, o sea, no es fácil, a lo mejor yo aprendí inglés porque en el momento yo estaba allá, yo aprendí, pero ustedes que están aquí y tienen tantas oportunidades de aprender, ahora sí que, o sea, llénense de lo que más puedas, explótenme, I don't know, exploit me, como que aprendan de mí, pregunten, aprovechen, porque no muchos tienen la oportunidad de estudiar un idioma y le digo a los chicos en la universidad, no lo dejen al como que, ay sí, pues un día o pronto o el próximo semestre, porque la verdad de inglés te abre las puertas.
Muchas gracias, la verdad, sí es muy interesante todo esto que nos comentas.
Gracias, Daniel.
¿Alguna otra pregunta, comentario? ¿Algo?
Échenle. Aprovechen, explótenla, aprovechenla de una vez.
Like me, no,
Aprovechenla, sí.
Vas, échale, Pati, échale. Tú
Yes,
abre el
tell us,
micro y
Pati.
avienta las preguntas.
Eh, Arely, muchas gracias por compartir otra vez. Yo había escuchado la historia de Arely antes. Siempre ¿cómo se dice? Me conmueve mucho escucharla y ver qué ha logrado también, porque esa es una historia de resiliencia, de verdad. Y ha hecho lo mejor de su vida aparte de esto, ¿no? Porque a veces nos toca vivir cosas que pues no controlamos, obviamente. Arely, so nice to see you, always. What do you think this experience in your life and the dual, do you hear me double? I hear myself double. It's terribly bad.
You're fine.
You hear me double?
There is an echo.
There is an echo. Okay.
Yeah, but it's not from you, don't worry.
I'll put on my headphones. But what do you see your identity being a dual, speaking the two languages, having lived two different cultures? They talk about all kinds of things, like the hypothesis from, when you see the world differently because you have a different experience really in life. What do you think you would be like if you had stayed there?
That's something that I get asked very often. My mom always asks me, like, what if you would have never been deported? What if you would have been here with us? And I tell her that I try not to think about it, because I think that it would just make me kind of go through like a spiral of like, well, I would have been able to do this, I would have been able to do that. I would have visited here, I would have been married with this person. And I think that before I get too far, I kind of stop myself and I think of focus on what you have now and what you have achieved. And I think Becky has a big role from me going into that kind of like spiral of what if. And I tend to think that if something happened, it happened for a reason. And my life there, it it was so crazy. I was like a rebellious child. I think that maybe I would have gone not through such a great path if I was there. My whole world was kind of turned upside down, and it made me kind of like focus myself on what I wanted to do and who I wanted to be more than anything. um but they always ask me, do you miss being there? And honestly, no. I think the best experience from being there, learning the language, working there, studying there. I kind of I took the best that I got from there and I brought it here with me. And when I go into a classroom, I try to kind of teach that. And I think that's what has gotten me so far in life is being able to look at a situation and think, okay, what are you going to do now? What's going to be your next step?
I guess thank you. I think my question might have been a bit off from what um, I I wanted to know. What has it allow you to become? The fact that you've had really the two cultures, the two different types of lives, not just the languages, because you're also bicultural. What do you think is the pros of having such experiences in life?
Definitely. I think that you develop a sense of like empathy and kindness for everyone. Everyone tells me you're too nice. Like people will walk all over you because you never say no. But I'm like, that's what's sometimes wrong with the world. There's not enough kind people. There's not enough people that'll see you in a situation and be like, I'm gonna help you because I know what it's like to be in that
Mhm.
place. And I think that having these experiences there and here, being really an illegal immigrant there, it teaches you to appreciate everything that you have there in that moment. And then when you come here and it's taken from you, um it's like, whoa, you can be at the top in one moment and the next day be starting in a new place, in a new country, having nothing and starting to build up your life again. So I think that more than anything, being empathetic and being kind.
Hmm. Very nice, very interesting. Thank you.
Thank you, Patty. Thank you, Arely. Do we have any more questions for Arely, guys? Suéltenlas, suéltenlas. I have one. Porque preguntona tenía que ser. um, you obviously went through a very particular experience growing up a bilingual in the USA, and Becky is having also a very particular experience growing up a bilingual right here in Mexico. What do you think? This is probably going to be a very vague question porque también preguntona y aparte vaga siempre, ¿no? Pero would you say that your struggles were or have been different to what Becky is going through right now, or when she first started learning both Spanish and English in a bilingual household, or I don't know.
Yeah, I think that one of the things that I tell her when she has an exam for English, and and is to take her schoolwork seriously. When I was in the States and I was learning English, I was like very good at school. I would always study, be on top of everything. And it's something that I wanted to transmit to her because I think that if she's interested in school and she does well, then English will eventually develop in her, like in a natural way. Like I want her to view it as something that can be done naturally, so she could have the same experience that I did. So that's why we go to Cinepolis and see movies in English. That's why at home, like we have like posters around the house that are in English, so that she sees. I kind of want to create like a fake world for her that I live there here, so she can experience the same things. And my goal eventually is for her to like English and speak it well and be able to be comfortable in the language.
Ok, thank you. ¿Alguien más?
¿Alguna otra pregunta para Arely?
¿Comentarios? I don't know.
No. No, pues no, no.
Parece que no.
Ok.
Pues
¿Vas?
sí, entonces, sí, ahí voy. Pues sí, si no tenemos más preguntas o comentarios o nada para Arely, one more time, I want to say thank you, Arely, for being
No.
here with us in this segundo encuentro. And antes de cerrar, nada más déjame encontrar dónde están mis cosas porque ya no sé qué está pasando aquí, pero ahí voy. Antes de despedirnos,
No, pero
tenemos...
no te vayas, Arely.
No, todavía no.
Sí.
Aquí estoy, no me voy a ir.
Es así de, ya terminamos, qué bueno. No, espera.
Cállense, sí, ¿no? Ya.
Ajá.
Y sí, pues antes de irnos, tenemos mini diplomita, mini reconocimiento simbólico meramente, porque pues no es como que esté legalizado ni nada por el estilo, que por supuesto estarás recibiendo en tu correo en algún momento, tal vez hoy, tal vez mañana. Pero pues sí, a nombre de Anglia, OLT, de Sergio, de Chivis y mío, de mí también, queremos agradecerte tu valiosa participación como ponente en este segundo encuentro de lenguas madres, multilingüismo y bilingüalidades. Y pues acá está.
Muchas gracias. Muchas
No,
gracias.
pues a ti
A
por
ti.
seguirnos esta onda y por aceptar la invitación.
Sí. Y por compartir tu historia, tu experiencia y tu todo acá con nosotros.
Y
No,
por
de nada,
estar.
la verdad, muchas gracias por invitarme.